Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com, updating your tropical weather at 12:02 p.m. on September the 8th, 2011. The tropical Atlantic is very busy 2 days here before the peak of the hurricane season, which is September the 10th. Now we have our 14th named storm, which is Tropical Storm Nate, located here in the Bay of Campeche, and this puts us just one storm behind the historic year of 2005, which we all know had 28 named storms. So on this current route that we're on here, this path we're on, we should see somewhere between 25 and 28 named storms if this pattern continues, which would probably be a historic year in the books, only second behind 2005. Now let's dive into this today. We want to talk about Hurricane Katia, located here between Bermuda and the United States, currently moving to the north. She is a Category 1 hurricane, should continue to the north and then turn to the northeast and actually not affect any land areas other than bringing Bermuda some gusty winds and some large swells, and as well as some rip currents along the eastern seaboard. But best case scenario did happen with Katia, and she is currently starting her recurve and should be no threat to anyone in the United States, so I won't deal with her very well today. We also have Tropical Storm Maria, which is just a mess on satellite imagery, very weak, possibly an open wave. We'll get into her in a second. And we also have Tropical Storm Nate, located here in the Bay of Campeche. Now if we go into the satellite imagery, we see Tropical Storm Nate here on the floater. The center is located just under the northeast edge of convection here, looking a little bit sheared from the northeast and also ingesting some of this dry air we see on satellite imagery here. The northwestern Gulf is just completely chock full of dry air, and it's getting entrained into the circulation. So don't expect any strengthening out of this in the short term, but in the long term I believe we will see Nate start to strengthen as it slowly drifts to the north. Now the models have been trending north and then west into Mexico. I'm beginning to believe that's not going to happen, and let's look at the models for Nate and I'll tell you why I believe that. You can see here on the models the initialization here in the Bay of Campeche, and then most of them, they have a camp of models that bring it down into southern Mexico, and then we have this other camp of models that just bring it up here towards South Texas and then just kind of meander it around here, and then we have also a group of models that want to bring it north into the central or western Gulf Coast. And I believe I'm in more agreements with this track here than I am with anything else. I believe that the slow movement will have will allow this high pressure system to build over Mexico, and then there's also a high pressure system building that will begin to build over the eastern United States here, and I believe there, and we have Lee's old remnants up here, this upper low that's kind of backing off to the west. So I believe that we'll start to tug Nate more to the north, and we'll see just how far to the west he can get. If we can get some rain into Texas out of this, it'd be great. More likely scenario would probably be Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle landfall, and that's what I'm thinking right now for Nate. I don't agree with this track. There's really no, it doesn't make sense for the high pressure system to be building here over northern Mexico and the models bringing him directly into toward this high pressure system. And I believe the National Hurricane Center is coming in line more with this scenario. As you can see, this is their actual track right now, but I believe they have changed their forecast here, and I believe with time it will shift more to the north over time. Now I do believe it'll probably meander around in the Gulf a little bit here, possibly strengthening into a hurricane over time, but time will tell on that. I actually want to go to a GFS model, and I actually want to show you. Here's what the GFS is depicting. Now just to give you an understanding of where we are here, this is the coastlines of Texas here. This is the upper Texas coast right in here, and here's Louisiana. So we see the initialization rather of Tropical Storm Nate down here. And if we bring this out a few frames, we see him start to move to the north and possibly a little bit to the east before we start bending a little bit back to the northwest. And northwest rather, and we'll see if we bring this model several days out, it just basically meanders him off the coast of Texas here. And if we go on out a few frames, we actually see Nate come north and then make landfall here somewhere just to the east of the Texas Louisiana border here, sort of a Rita pattern here going on. I'm not sure if I really am in agreement with this scenario with the GFS. I'd like to see a couple more runs before I really get excited about this, because if you'll notice in here, it just stalls him right in this area. Just basically stalls Nate here for a long period of time. He just sits there before actually getting drawn to the north and east. So I'm not sure that I'm in agreements with this track a little bit further west. I would say probably track in here would probably be more in line with what I'm thinking, but hey, you never know, and I don't want to lose hope here in southeast Texas. So guys here in Texas, this could be a possibly a rainmaker here. We'll have to see over the next few days how the models pan out. This possibly could spell trouble here in central Texas with all the fires. This will probably increase the winds in this area just as much as they did with Lee. So we'll see if Nate, the son of Lee, basically can follow his path into Louisiana and bring flooding rains back into this area. Time will tell what will happen with Nate, but it is definitely interesting to see the GFS jump on this near Texas landfall. So we'll see what ends up happening with Nate, and we'll keep updating as time goes by. Now if we jump into the back to the Atlantic wide view, you see Maria out here basically just looking terrible. And if we look at her floater, you can see, sometimes I talk about this, this is a naked swirl right here. You can see on the satellite imagery right there, her center is completely exposed on the last few frames of the satellite, void of any convection whatsoever. She's basically raced out in front of the convection she had yesterday and left it behind, and is basically trying to fire some new convection just to the north and west of the center, and having a lot of trouble doing that. You can see these milky white clouds here that's getting blown off to the north and east, basically being sheared a little bit, and that's basically because there's an upper I can't talk today, I apologize, an upper level low that's centered right in here, and the wind flow around that is basically shearing the system a little bit. So she's definitely fighting for her life here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her downgraded at some point today. That hurricane hunters will investigate her later today, but she is moving off to the west, still has maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, moving off to the west at a very fast pace of 20 to 22 knots. Now if we look at her forecast, model forecast here, we see her here, and we see her taking a pretty sharp northwest turn. I really don't, I'm not in really good agreement with this as well. I really see her probably making a little further west, and the reason being is because she is so weak. I don't think the northward turn would pan out as soon as these models are latching onto, but I believe I would probably prefer a little bit further southerly track, possibly over Hispaniola here. Right now the center is going over Puerto Rico, so you guys in Puerto Rico and the northern Leeward Islands here need to be prepared for possible tropical storm force conditions over the next probably 3 to 4 days here as she makes her pass at you guys. Right now, yesterday I thought that she would make hurricane force strength before impacting the islands, but at this point, with as weak as she looks and as disorganized as she is, I don't believe that is the case. I think you guys will probably just get hit with maybe some tropical storm force gusty winds and some showers and thunderstorms here, nothing that you guys can't handle or not used to. So we'll see how it pans out. The weaker she stays, probably the further south she stays. If she degenerates into an open wave, she probably continues on to the west for at least a time before regenerating back in this area somewhere. So time will tell, and it looks like as she gets a little closer, the east coast of the United States could possibly be impacted. I don't want to go out on a limb here, but definitely the Bahamas here, the central Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and the northern part of the Leeward Islands definitely need to keep a close eye on Maria as she makes her way westward. So that's something we'll have to watch over the next few days. But as I said earlier, the tropics are very active. There's another wave coming off of Africa behind Maria, so we'll see in the next few days what happens with Nate. Will he go into Mexico? Will he take a northerly route into the central Gulf Coast? Will he bring some beneficial rains to Texas? Time will tell, and the models will be coming to a better agreement over the next few days. And what will Maria do? Will she make a southerly route pass? Will she actually bring rains to the islands and then actually impact the eastern United States? That's something we'll have to be looking at and watching very closely as well. So once again, you guys keep checking back, and I'll keep updating as conditions warrant it. And this is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com. I'll see you all again soon.